Well, here we are. We're in Nassau, February 1938. That's Evelyn Hingston on the beach, my mother going into the water. We stayed at the Fort Montague Hotel. That's my father's sister, Aunt Gertrude. That's Uncle Robert. And that's Anne, checking for sunburn. That's my father. And Aunt Gertrude and her husband, Uncle Bill, went to Nassau just about every winter for 10 or 15 years. We didn't go to Nassau very often. We went skiing instead. Now,
how many times did you go to Nassau?
Once. We only went there the one time.
You can keep talking, just talk about the trip maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make the tea.
Okay, now. Our kids playing in the water. I don't remember the water, but it must have been wonderful. Everybody was in all the time. Now, in the village, it's Robert in the middle, my mother and Anne, Dad, Aunt Gertrude. Nassau, 1938, there certainly were some cars around, but it was very relaxed. I'm not sure what they bought in the market, but that's my brother Robert right there with my mother and Anne doing a little looking. And then that's my Aunt Gertrude, and that's Dad. My father and his sister, Aunt Gertrude, were very close together, and they, I guess you don't know, but they lived side by side on Grosvenor Avenue. And which one is the donkey? Now,
Just say who you see is that.
That's my mother and Anne. It must be somewhere in Nassau in front of the hotel. That's Robert.
There's a lot of scenery.
Yeah, this is all scenery. I don't know what we were doing down there during a school break. It must have been a school break. We were gone a couple of weeks. And that is the Fort Montague Hotel. It was one beautiful, grand place.
How did you get down there?
Well, I think we probably took the train to Miami and took a flying boat across to the island. There's a picture of a flying boat here somewhere.
Yeah.
That's Anne in front of the hotel. 1938, if you had any money, things were very grand. Somewhere in here, or on the edge of the water, and I'm not sure just what was happening there. I don't remember going out on the boat. Well, the waterfront in front of the hotel. little local kids diving into the water for coins. Great sport. I'm just clear. The water is amazingly clear. There was lots of fresh seafood, as I remember. Yeah, these are all the local people lined up on the dock looking for passengers. Those are conch shells.
Did you eat much seafood down there?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's an ice cream machine.
The big boat.
Look at the ferry. I'm not sure what that was. A local ferry boat, I guess. Now that's Mother and Robert before. We're off to something. Fort Montague Beach. This is the racetrack. I don't remember going to the racetrack. But if it wasn't for these photographs, I wouldn't remember that I had been there or had seen that. One thing about a picture, it certainly tells you where you were. And there is how we got in a 4-engine flying boat. I don't remember that one either, but that must have been how we got there. I think now we are in Miami Beach. That is Uncle Bill Burpee, my father's brother-in-law. That is a friend of my mother's, a schoolgirl friend, Dorothy Polson, who was originally Dorothy Givens. Her family owned the Whig Standard in Napanee. I don't know who the man is.
Who was taking the pictures all this time?
Well, I think I was taking the pictures pretty well all the time. Now, the one on the left is Dorothy Poulsen Givens. The other one is my Aunt Gertrude.
That's your dad's sister?
My dad's sister. Better get close to this thing. I think this, we may have moved up to Washington at this point. In the springtime, at the cherry blossoms, that's Washington, D.C.
So this had to be in the spring then?
This was in the springtime. I'm trying to think whether it was in March. It's quite a long way south from here. And that is Judy Hingston and Evie, Dad. I suspect we're just home from church.
You're going to church?
Are we going to church? That's